Starting at the third chapter, beginning with the first verse. Now Peter and John went up together to the temple at the hour of prayer, the 9th hour. A certain man lame from his mother's womb was carried, whom they laid daily at the gate of the temple, which is called Beautiful, to ask alms for those who entered the temple. Who, seeing Peter and John about to go into the temple, asked for alms. And fixing his eyes on him with John, Peter said, "Look at us." So he gave him his attention, expecting to receive something from them. Then Peter said, "Silver and gold I do not have, but what I do have I give you. In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, rise up and walk." And he took him by the right hand and lifted him up, and immediately his feet and ankle bones received strength. So he, leaping up, stood and walked and entered the temple with them, walking, leaping, and praising God. If I had to use a thought this morning, I wanted to talk to you briefly about crippled faith. Here we find in this book a man that was lame from birth, a man that was not given a name. But yet we find that he was brought to this place called Beautiful, a place where you would come to receive from the Lord, a place where you could be made whole and find strength and find whatever it is that you needed the Lord to do. But the man was not able to get there on his own. He was not able because he was impotent, he was crippled, he was lame, and he was paralyzed. But he had enough inside of him to ask his friends, "Will you find me and take me to the place and lay me there?" Now, in laying at the gate, he did not ask to go inside of the temple. He stayed at the gate yet and asked for alms. Alms at that time was money. It was a donation. It was a type of a handout that you would need in order to get something that you wanted. Now, what I am a little confused about, or the first point that I wanted to talk to you about, is a weakness in one area can cripple you in another. The weakness in his physical life made him want to be weak in his mental faculties as well as in his spiritual capacity. The fact that he allowed his physical situation to dictate to the rest of his mental capabilities as well as his spiritual life was an unfortunate thing. The fact that he was born this way, he had a complex because it wasn't something that he asked for. It wasn't a result of a sin that he did, nor was it a result of a sin that his parents did. He was just born this way. Instead of being born this way and allowing that to make something greater out of your life, or allowing that to bring about a greater destiny, he unfortunately chose a road in which he lay at the gate asking for alms. He chose a road in which he did not know anything as far as how to come about out of the state of being crippled. So because he was physically crippled, he allowed it to cripple his faith. Apart from being weak in his body and being lame, the man was a normal person just like you and I. So he had the same mental abilities that we had. He had the same Noah that we have. He was able to think in the same capacities in which we were able to think. Now, if I were lame, I would begin to think of ways that I could somehow help me in this state, or either a way that I would be able to make it advance from being in this state. Unfortunately, he could not see past that. He went into this faculty of being in an impoverished state or in a pity party for himself. While in this pity party, I wonder what exactly was he looking for. He was looking for money. He was looking for a handout. At times, handouts are very much okay. I would not denote anyone getting a handout. But it's the handout that sometimes will cripple you and make you wonder, how can you get back on your feet? Because you're so used to receiving and getting things from other people. In the Bible, they told us that he had an expectation to receive. His expectation to receive was normally that of money. But at this time, it did not say he had an expectation really to receive money. He just had an expectation that he was going to receive something. How many of us can say we come to the house of the Lord on a Sunday after Sunday, or whenever we come to gather in his name, that we come with an expectation? An expectation is a hope. An expectation is a looking forward to. An expectation is something that I want to get out of. An expectation of, I think that I can and I know that I will. His expectation was not at all to receive strength. His expectation was not at all to receive healing. His expectation was that of which it was when he was laid there every day, which was to receive money. But on this day, he saw Peter and John walking by. I wonder, what did he see when he saw Peter and John walking by that he decided to ask them? When we're walking by people on a daily basis, what do they see in us? What do they say about us? Are they able to approach us? Do we look lovable or do we look mean and hateful? So he decided to ask Peter and John a question. So Peter and John then answered his question and said, "Look on us." Peter knew that it was nothing about him himself that would be able to help this man in his crippled state, but he knew that it was something that he could do, or someone that he knew in which could help the man in the state that he was in. Peter replied to the gentleman, "Silver and gold have I none, but what I do have you can receive, and it's in the name of Jesus." It's in the name of Jesus in which we also want to receive at the same time. He wanted to receive the money, but he got his miracle. See, the expectation results in an impartation. The impartation is something in which you get that will help you make an advance in the situation that you was in. So the impartation that he received unexpectedly was that of strength, which that of making him yet whole again from his original state, the purpose in which he was supposed to have been born into, but unfortunately he was born in the crippled place. So the expectation that he had to receive money did not supersede in what God knew that he needed. See, he wanted the money, but God knew he needed the healing. That's just like us many of days. We want certain things that we don't necessarily need, but because God is Jehovah Jireh, the one who provides, he knows what we need and what is best for us, his children. That's why it's a good thing for you to have faith and not a crippled faith, not a faith that is hindered by a situation. You can't allow a current situation to dictate to your life, but yet you have to dictate to the situation. Because we have a God who we serve and a God that we believe in, that we know is able to do exceedingly abundantly and above all, we need to have a hope and an expectation that the Lord is. And he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. Yes, so we have to do our part in this crippled state in order for us to reach this place of having great faith and not just a crippled faith. Because we're crippled in our leg and we're crippled in our hand and we're crippled in our arm does not mean that our faith has to be that as well. Let your faith supersede the expectation that you have out of life so that God can give you what it is. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. A lot of us hope that things will look better. A lot of us hope that we will come out of this current situation. A lot of us hope for our family members to be saved. But at this particular time, because of life's situations and because of things that are going on with the inconsistencies of life, we're not able to see that. But we have to have that substance. We have to have that thing that will make us want to have a drive, that will make us want to have the ability to go after something that's greater than what we are really in. The good thing about this was that Peter knew that it was no goodness of his own, because he was simply flesh and a disciple of Christ, so he could not do it. So he said, in turn, I will do it in the name of the one who has sent me, in the name of Jesus the Christ of Nazareth. We can't go about life doing things on our own recognizance. We can't go about life doing things within our